Hi, this is Kim Pinkney and welcome to my channel. Alrighty, well today is day 2 of my 100 heads in 8 days challenge. The challenge was initially 100 heads in 10 days. And then I came across another one where it was 100 heads in 100 days. But since this is like the tail end of Black History Month, I am trying to squeeze this all in at the last minute because I just discovered it. And I thought it would be a lot of fun. And this is one of the pictures that I had done yesterday. This was Eartha Kitt as Catwoman. Let's see. Let's see. I've got Eartha Kitt. I've got a few other people here. Let me see if I can lift this up a bit so I can get all of the book here. And a lot of these pictures I found on Pinterest. Some of them you'll recognize right off the bat, and others you might not, because I didn't capture their likeness as much as I'd like. And I realized that I had to move a lot faster if I was going to do like 12 faces in a day. This was one that I had started on camera and I didn't get to finish. This one was the last one that I had begun. Today was just all about, or rather yesterday was all about drawing black actresses and trying to get their likenesses. The hardest one that I came across was doing Sherry Belafonte. That one was the hardest one. Some of them I found inside of a magazine. So some of them I found that they are unfinished. The bus I was riding on was jostling so bad that I was like, man, I just cannot get it together. So anyway, but there are some pictures that I really wish I had more time on. Like this one. I mean, I have to whip this out fast. So, I was this close to abandoning this project or this exercise, because I came across so many iconic images that I was like, I need to give more time to. And it's just, I want to say it's not fair, but it's like I had no idea that I'd be so inspired. So today I wanted to focus more on men, iconic black men, and what I'm going to do is, if I draw too big, I won't be able to fit in enough faces into this book, because I figure I need at least 4 faces per page. I've got 25 pages in this Bristol book, and you saw how I was taking some of these ladies and I was, what is the word? I could do Jackson 5 right here. That might be later. And I made them various sizes because I just took them wherever my hand would take them. And I just wanted to have fun. The first day it was really about loosening up and stuff like that. And so one of the things I want to show is how I learned how to do caricatures. And one of the ways that they had showed me how to do caricatures when I was working at Busch Gardens was work from the bottom up. And let's see, I was going to start doing it just my way, how I do it. But here's how I learned how to do caricatures. The one I'm working on today, right now, is Billy D. Williams. And when we did caricatures, we looked at the shape of the jaw. And this was from a tutorial from one of the guys that had recruited me. Well, not recruited, but hired me to be a caricature artist. And his method was to work from the bottom up. You get the jaw going. He didn't do the line. I shouldn't do the line if they're not doing the line. Let's see. And it was pretty much because you were working with a marker and not a pencil. So we would get the jaw down in the basic shape, and a lot of it's all about distorting the image. He would get the hair going. Just go ahead and capture what you see in the basic shapes. The funnier the better, the more distorted the better. But instead of distorting this to an extreme, I am trying to get as accurate as possible. And then you got the cheekbone. And then I also found that if I distorted an image just enough and then I reined it back in, I could capture a likeness too. So what caricature drawing does, it's quick, and what you're doing is you're grabbing the stuff that not only that you see, the shapes that you see, but you're capturing the bare minimum of what you see too. So one of the things he would do is he would also start on the nose. He would make it, if you had a big nose, he'd make it bigger. If you had big lips, he'd make them bigger. But he'd still capture the same shape of the nose, the same shape of the lips. They were just only bigger. Or he would have his own little way of drawing lips and tried to incorporate his style into reality. See, like this person has big lips, but they're not that big. So what I'll do is I'll rein it in to more of what his size is, since I don't have a lot of time. This is 5:30, so I got about an hour to play. And I'm going to try to do 5 faces during this time. So basically, he started with the nose. From the nose, he went to the eyebrows. And he would exaggerate the eyebrow just to get that basic shape. And then the eyes. He always had his own little way of doing eyes. One way for me to get like symmetry is I would do the top of the lid, you know, that line that shows you the top of the lid, and then you would from there you would go and do what the eyeball shape was, you know, because it determines how much of the eye is hooded. And I would do it on both sides. I wouldn't just do one eye. And then it's easier to add the bottom lid. Don't forget the fold underneath the eye, especially if you're doing realism. And I'll explain it in the next face. And then I start to bring it in. He's got cheekbones. And let's see, his nose is not this big. Actually, it is. It's just with some good shading. And I'll just bring some of this in. For mustaches, I would do little lines like this. And what I want to do is capture the shape with those lines. I don't want to just go ahead and do like an outline and then try to fill it in, because then you're trying to cover up the outline. So see if you can capture the shape with the tick marks. I'm at a distance, or rather the camera is at a distance, so I don't see like every single hair. So I just take degrees of that hair. If it's super dark, then you know, you add more lines there. If it's thin, you just add fewer lines and further apart from each other. Okay, so for the lips, I look at the shadows of the lips, where shadows are being cast. And usually, typically, the upper lip is darker than the bottom lip, but depending on the light, if they're outside, there's so many factors that change that basic fact. So I don't just go willy-nilly and make the lips darker, but there are places on the lips that are darker than others. A lot of portrait drawing is looking at the differences in tones. Is this darker than this? Is this darker than this? The light is kind of hitting it at an angle, so this part of his lip is lit up, but back here it gets darker. So when I'm shading, and I'm using little lines like this because it's pretty fast, and the closer together they are, you don't notice. And same thing, and I'm varying how I'm applying the lines. I'm not just doing lines like this throughout the picture. If the area is horizontal, like where the chin is, then I do horizontal lines. If it's darker, I put more lines. If it's less dark here than it is here, then I put fewer lines. And then if it gets darker again because of shadow or tone, I would add more lines. Now he kind of looks like Eddie Murphy instead of Billy Dee Williams. So I have to find the thing that makes Billy Dee Williams look like Billy Dee Williams. Part of it is that he's got a wider forehead. He's got gorgeous hair, so I got to make sure I capture that. It is dark, so I am not filling in the black. Not yet. What I can do is, he's got fine hair, or his hair is pressed or whatever, permed or whatever. So what I do, or it's natural, I don't know, he could be mixed. I take lines and go with the curve of the curls that he has in his hair. His mustache is thicker. His lips aren't as thick as Eddie Murphy's. So I'm going to bring in some of my lines. And I look at the curve and try to follow the curve of the mouth, because everything that applies to this character or this actor, his chin is not that thin. He's got a broader chin. And he's got like a bit of a cleft, but not a deep one. It's kind of shallow. Just enough so you can see the dent. Let's see, his jawline is definitely much more pronounced than Eddie's. Eddie has a thinner face, more slender, and this face is a lot more square jawed. And just so that I don't have heads just like... there's nothing more weird than a disembodied head. So give him a neck. I know this challenge is just about drawing heads, but heads have to attach to something. I was going to do hands, but I should have got it. I should have started with a bigger book and with more time. So maybe the next one, I think I want to do cartoon characters, just like whatever cartoon characters I can find. I want to do like little pictures of them, and like maybe 5 or 6 per page, whether it's full body or just their face. I want to do something like that. I want to challenges like this are supposed to help you with your skills. Okay, his cheekbones are also a little bit wider. And I want to draw Eddie Murphy too, because he's one of my favorites. Back when I was a kid growing up, he did stand-up, and it was a lot of fun. You could tell an Eddie Murphy joke and just laugh your ass off with your friends. You know, my brother and I, we would we would just tell Eddie Murphy jokes to each other, and we would just like hee 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 hee, and we didn't even have to tell the entire joke because we all knew the punchline. One of my favorites was chasing after the ice cream truck, because people could relate to that. You don't see the ice cream truck as much as you did back in the 70s and 80s. You know, little street entrepreneurs selling you some ice cream, some candy, some, you know, just random crap, but mostly ice cream. It wasn't something that parents bought on the regular. At least mine didn't. You know, we wouldn't, you know, we rarely would buy like a big old thing of ice cream. So when we did have money, and my mom felt froggy, you know, ice cream truck coming, you can hear the music, you know, and I mean, kids were almost getting hit by cars, especially mine. My oldest son, when he was little, he heard the ice cream truck, and it was like the Pied Piper calling for rats. Kids would come out of nowhere, and a lot of them were getting hit by cars or almost hit by cars, because they would just fly out of nowhere with a handful of change to go get some ice cream. And you had to look both ways when you crossed the street, and things like that. But my son, he saw ice cream, and he just lost his mind and went running. Almost got hit by a car. And I'm like, it's hard to be mad at him, because it's like, it's the ice cream truck, you know, but it's like, holy crap. You know, so I had to teach him, you know, you gotta teach the kids, Okay. So now it's just looking at, so my point was the Eddie Murphy joke. One of them was the ice cream truck, and, you know, he would tell jokes about things that you could relate to, mostly. Like my mom, she could relate to throwing shoes, and his mom would throw shoes. And my mom had told me that she used to throw shoes at us when we were acting up, until she threw one at us, and it made one of our noses bleed. She said she threw a shoe at me once and hit me in the face, and I just started bleeding. Wasn't so funny then. That was the last time she ever threw anything at us. I don't remember it. I was too young, but you know, she could relate to that. But the ice cream truck was universal. And then kids teasing each other. Like, Mom! You'd be outside playing, and you hear the ice cream truck. Throw some money, the ice cream truck is coming! Mom! You know, and so Mom would hurry up, rush to her purse. Okay, get this for your brother. And you go run in, and you get your ice cream. And he talked about how mean kids could be. It's like, I got some ice cream, I got some ice. They would sing about it. And then if you were a poor kid, they would make fun of you. And then other kids would join in. It's like, I got some ice cream. Want a lick? You know, hold out the ice cream. And then it's like, you know, and then they just keep singing about it. I got some ice cream, I got some. You know, just like crazy stuff like that. Eddie Murphy was funny back in the day. And then, like, one of the other things about the kids is like, other kids that couldn't get their ice cream. You got no ice cream because you're on the welfare. And other kids will join in. Because your daddy's an alcoholic. You know, crap like that. Eddie Murphy was hellaciously funny. And then the kids would be dancing around. I got some ice cream. Then they drop their ice cream. And he would drop his mic. It would be like, and he'd look at it like a little kid and like all sad and stuff. And then the other kids would be like, or the kid that didn't, you know, couldn't afford it. You dropped your ice cream. You dropped your ice cream. And then the kid was like, think about it for a second. Looked at it, picked it up, wiped it off a little bit, and then went back to licking it. It's like kiss it to God, raise it up. Like doing that makes it clean again. I remember doing that crap when I was little. Not the teasing part, but the definitely kissing it to God. You drop it on the ground, kiss it to God, you know, 3-second rule. If it only touched the ground for 3 seconds, it's still good. You know, that kind of crap. Okay, so now all it is in doing this is just refining and just trying to get that likeness and things like that. Let's see. Now, a lot of the pictures that I'm drawing from, you may be able to find on my Pinterest. If you go to Kim Pinkney and look me up, you may be able to find some of this. You may not, because some of them I'm getting images from just alternate places, doing Google searches and things like that. And I apologize, I am not in the chat just yet because I am looking at the source image and I only have one screen. My poor computer can't handle it. And I would have been on earlier, but again, my computer was giving me some grief saying that Windows couldn't find whatever it is that I had plugged in, and I'm like, yeah, so I was going through the motions again this morning trying to get things to work. Let's see. Okay, so I don't have a lot of time, so this is a bit of Billy D, and I was kind of using the method where you start at the jaw and then build your way upwards. That's not how I usually do it on the regular. Let me see if I can find Eddie Murphy, just so I can show the difference between the two. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, some of my other favorite Eddie Murphy jokes is when he would do Captain Kirk. Yeah, Eddie Murphy Delirious and Eddie Murphy Raw. Two of his famous stand-ups, and just friggin' hilarious. Okay, I want to see if I can capture an iconic Eddie face. He's always got like one, yeah. He's got like one eyebrow up, one eyebrow down, and kind of like a devilish smile. I found one. Let me grab that. Copy image. And I'll put that in the 100 head thing. Now, some of these pictures I would take from the 100 head and put into, what is this called? Google, what is this thing called? Google Slides. Because you can only zoom in so far on Pinterest, but you can zoom in really close with with Google's Slides. So I would copy and paste it. Now this is about the size I want the head to be, and usually I kind of map out the face with let's see, and there's the chin is going to be down here. Okay. And I know that the eyes are going to fall on this line right here, because he's pretty much in this picture facing forward. Now on doing faces, and you just want to grab, like with so many faces that I've got to do, and I don't have my my shading papers with me. I think they're in my bag right now. Let's see, I'm adding this. I'm just using lines on these guys right here. There's so many women that I want to draw too. I mean, I didn't realize I was a fan of so many black actresses. Let's see. Okay, so I usually do the top of the lid and the eyeball, and I try to get it so that it's either centered or centered on what he's looking at, what my subject is looking at. If it looks like it's completely round, I draw it completely round. If it looks like it's just like it's cut off, I'll draw it because it's cut out, you know, draw it exactly how I see it. This is the eyelash line, so basically I'm using the eyelash line as the lid line, and then right above it I look to see if they have eyelids, how pronounced they are, the shape of it. And then I also gauge how far away this line is from the eyebrow, the bottom of the eyebrow. And then I would do the eyebrow right there. And it's all about relations, how close this is to something else. We know everybody's got two eyes, a nose, blah blah blah, but how far away is the top of the lid to the bottom of the eyebrow? What shape is it in? Is it close? Is it bushy? And I kind of do it like that, and then I'll form my eyebrow. And then I'll start at the bottom, and then I'll work my way around. Here's the top, going on to the top, and then just with little jagged lines. If it's not that thick, I'll have my eraser nearby, and I would thin it up. Okay, so I'm looking at the eyes. I look to see if there's any eye shines in it. He's got two on either side. The lights are hitting him like that. And I just try to get that shape that I see that's created by the lid. Now I look to see if this is close, how close this one is to this, and I just adjust as much as I need to, and just keep adjusting as I need. And then if he's got pronounced eyelashes, I throw that in there. Sometimes you won't see it because you're so far away, or the camera is very far away. And then I look to see how much shape, or what kind of shape this is casting. And I follow around with the bottom of the lid, of the bottom lid. And I look to see what that shape is creating. And then I look to see how much of the white is showing. If there's a little bit of white beneath the eyeball, I'll leave that in there. And I'll do the same thing. Sometimes I'll start right underneath where the eyeball is and use that as a guide, and then just add my lines that way. And you'll see that different eyes, they're not always symmetrical. They depending on how they're looking, where they're looking, if the person's gotten beat up in their life and things like that. You know, sometimes there's differences in the way an eye looks. Now, sometimes I look to see if I can find the tear duct. If you don't see it pronounced, just don't even draw it in. Just assume that it's there somewhere. These people do cry. Yes, Kim, these people do cry. Okay. And then I'm just pretty much looking to see the hairline. How high up is the forehead, eyebrows to the, top of the hair. Sometimes it depends on the lighting. Sometimes you won't be able to see it. I try to find pictures bright enough so I can see all the lines. But sometimes that's not always possible. Okay. And so that's kind of why I jump around. Getting relations of things to each other helps me, form a picture. And it could be just one thing that's a little off. Like the top of, okay, his head is angled downwards. So his ears are a little higher up. They kind of follow this kind of thing. So like when I'm drawing him and his head is angled down, and you got to keep in mind that the head is round. Don't draw straight across. You want to think in terms of roundness, especially if the head is angled downwards. So your cheekbones are going to angle downwards. Your mouth is going to follow this curve. So like the nose will be like right here for Eddie. And what I do to find the nostril like where the nostril begins and ends, is I use the eye as a measure. Sometimes I'll lift my pencil up and see if I can see what part of the eye. So like for Eddie, in this position, this part of the eye is the end of the nose, and that's the very end right here. So I can draw a nostril right here. And then on the other side, sometimes it falls at the edge of the eyeball, like right here. This is where Eddie's falls in this picture. So I just bring it down to this line, and I do the other end. And then I erase it because it looks like they're crying. And that gives me where the nose is. Now you can also, depending on the person, and it is accurate to a certain degree, you can take the size of the eye and put it right down in there, and you'll know that you've got it. You pretty much got it. Because the nose is one eye wide. Some people have ginormous noses, and then some people, you know, they have really tiny noses, and some people have nose jobs. So sometimes you just got to kind of take it with a grain of salt to figure it out. The Jacksons are a hard one to draw. It's the ones that have had the most plastic surgery, because they've thrown their natural proportions off. And also, sometimes you want to figure out how far down you want to throw the nose. You know, because if you throw it down too far, you can change a person's look completely. Use the ears as a guide if you can. Or use that measurement that the nose is exactly like half or a third of the way down, depending on where you're starting your measurements. If you're like cutting it, like if you cut it in half, the nose is like about a third of the way down, and in between there you got the mouth. And because his head is tilted downward, oh, let me keep finishing up the nose here. I don't draw any hard lines on the nose. The only place where I'd probably have a hard line is where I would see the hardest shadow, where it's the darkest. If it doesn't exist, then I just try to use tones. Sometimes photographs and things like that are very, very light. Good morning to anybody who has popped in. I apologize, I am not at the chat. I'm looking at my source image, and I apologize. I've just this challenge is pretty consuming, but when I get to a moment, I'll go ahead and check the chat and see if you guys have left me a little bit of message or a greeting or anything like that. Let's see. I hate having just one screen. It used to be easier when I had two going at once, but then my computer broke and I got the cheapest thing that could handle, you know, my computer could handle, my motherboard could handle, and unfortunately it can't handle two screens. Let's see, but I'll be back in the chat in a little bit. Okay, now also looking at his lips, and this isn't the best picture. I tried to find something that was in the position that I wanted, but it's not high res. So when you select photos to draw from, you want to find ones where, and my favorite are the ones where I can see eyelashes. If I can see your eyelashes clearly, it's a pretty good photo. If I can't, and all I see are dark shapes and masses, all I'm going to get is a bigger, darker shape and darker mass. Because my eye is drawing what I see. I could try to fill in with what I think I'm seeing, you know, but it may not be as accurate as having a nice clear photo. So if you look for source images, Try to find some that you can see all the details. This one has it's clear to a certain extent, but it's low res. It's like instead of it being like 150 dpi, it's probably like 72 dpi. And if you zoom in, you can see all the pixels. That's pretty bad. I don't recommend pictures like that, but if that's all you got, you just try to make the most of it. Okay. Now, hopefully, I did my job, and now you can see the difference between Billy D and Eddie M. Okay. And if you don't, I'll point them out. Eddie's got like the longer, narrower face. He does have a bit, he doesn't have the squared off jaw. It's more narrow. It's more in. The older that you get, you know, your face still keeps growing. Your nose will grow. Your ears will grow. And your face will change due to age. Things will get more pronounced. Hairlines will recede. You know, things like that. So if you're drawing a person and you're trying to get their likeness, you gotta keep that in mind, that as a person gets older, they're not going to have the same kind of features as they would in their 20s as they are in their 50s or 60s. I think he's in his 40s in this picture, and then Eddie is like in his 20s in this picture. So I might not have the same amount of detail in the face as one picture to another. Plus, this one has shadows. To shade shapes, I'm trying to follow what I think the shape of the face is. So like if his lips are angled down, I try to give it kind of the lines that are defining it more of a curve. The only hard lines I put on there are like the line of the face here, so I can determine that from the neck. It's kind of like where a different color would appear, is how I see it. I can't cut into this person's head here. And then for cheekbones, I kind of do this kind of shape. I do like little curves. So when people tell you, oh, well, I was practicing my line work, it could be doing marks. And I found myself when I was a teenager subconsciously trying to learn how to do those shapes. So if you can do multiple shapes in this direction, that direction, any direction, multiple shapes, that will help you create contours in a face. So like if I know that cheekbones are round, then I'm going to give it a rounder contour. If I know that things are going horizontal, like this part of his face is going horizontal but on a curve, I will, my lines will be curved. If I'm creating shadow, like there's shadow on this side, on his neck, I would do lines like this. It kind of is like an action line. Now all this right here is in shadow, so I can't see any of it. And you can, if you've got like really deep solid lines or solid areas of color, instead of coloring it all in solid, you can also do hash, what do you call it? I think they're called hash marks. Or hash shading, cross shading or something like that, cross hatching. And it's just basically lines going in one direction and then going in another, and it's supposed to make things darker. So sometimes I do that here. It's rare for me to do it like that, though. I pretty much try to follow the shape of the face. Like, I know that this is going to be round, but I don't want to draw a hard round line. I want to only show where the shadows are. And if it's, like I said, if it's dark, then I add darker lines and lines closer together. If they are lighter, I'll add a couple lines and I'll add them lightly. And now, once I got the basics of the face down, I just pretty much go ahead and make my lines a lot bolder, find the relationships between things, and it's just pretty much refining. Like, I notice now that his eyebrow comes up a little higher, just a little, and then I can even make this a little higher too. And that's a little bit more iconic, Eddie, where his eyebrows are a little bit more arched. And then, but definitely play on those shadows. It adds drama to your face, and you may even see different degrees in the shadow. So instead of just coloring this all in dark, I look for where the light parts are. Or I would use my kneaded eraser and like I could do this sort of thing. This is dark. It's not as bright as this area here, and you just want to kind of see the difference between the two. This right here is getting hit by the light a lot. But this is in, freaking gnats are all over the place, in shadow. So what I would do is I would do a very light line right here, and then add the shadows that I think are there, or that I see that are there, and just kind of blend that in so that this is not as bright as this. It does have some light. It catches a little bit of the light. Got you, little bastard. I think I did. Let's see. It's 6:06. All right, next face. Oh, well, let's get some hair in him. His hair is, I can't see the top of his head in this picture. It's like cuts off like right here, but I'm not going to give him a flat top. I know that his head is moderately round up there, and I can't see any of this because it's in shadow and it's also cut off. So I would do this sort of thing. And then when I have time, I'm coming back to my pictures, and I'm going to fill in like different details. Like, I know one of the ladies that I have, one of the ladies that I have, she's got braids, little micro braids. So I'm going to do like little hints of braids. With people with very tight curls, natural hair, I do squiggly lines really close together, and what that does is it creates a texture. And the tighter that you have them, the more dense the hair is. Where there's highlights, like where it's not as dark in certain places, go ahead and just do a few curls, but where it's like super dark, go ahead and go for broke. Keep them close together. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it. And then look at it. If it's still darker in certain areas, you can put more pressure on it and get it a little bit darker. Or get a darker pencil, like a charcoal pencil. So now I can make it look like this whole area of his face is dark. And this side of his face, it has tone, but it's not as dark as this. So you want to try to get as close as you can. If like this side it's got tones to it, so I would do maybe a couple lines. But on this side, I'm going to put a lot of lines closer together, and that'll give me the illusion of shadow. And then anything that, like, this area right here is super bright. That's why I hate this challenge, because there's so many things that you can add to a portrait. And some of the videos that I was watching of other people doing this, they said, well, I had to make decisions. And some of the decisions are, how much detail do you put into your portrait? I've got 12 of these guys to do for the day in order to complete my quota of the day to make it to the 8. If I fall behind, I'm not going to beat myself up. If I don't make the 100 faces, I'm not going to beat myself up. It is what it is, you know, but I'm not going to stop trying. Okay, let's see. The ears are pretty much about the same height, so you can get away with that. This ear shows more than that ear, so his head is kind of tilted this way. That's another thing that you can notice. Sometimes faces look like they're aiming right to you when they're actually turned at an angle. And sometimes you don't notice these things until after you started drawing it. And some people, some actors, some subjects, they won't come together until you actually got all those contour lines in there. So part of being a caricature artist type of thing is trying to find the thing that makes that person come together with the least amount of lines as possible. So I also have to question myself, why am I doing this challenge? I know so much about faces already. And I don't want to talk myself out of doing it. But I think I just want to pay homage to actors and actresses that show that, you know, you can do something with your life. You can entertain. You can affect people, their thoughts, their dreams, inspire people to greatness just by playing a role. Just by, and a lot of these people set trends. Billy D was, I don't want to say, he was just smooth. So he was, what's the word? He showed that black men can be very sexy. And Eddie, really great comedian. Now he's looking like Chris Rock. Yeah, so I urge you to take the time, find a really good source image, and then let's see, I gotta make him look less like Chris Rock. It's kind of hard because I have so many shadows and the picture is very, very pixelated. And so you just try to find the thing that makes this person them. Eddie's got bigger eyes than this. He's got more whites of his eyes showing. His eyes are a lot rounder than I've done here. And that could be the one thing that will also, well, make him look more like Chris Rock. Yeah, I think that's why I want to do the challenge. Is like, I really want to get better likenesses. I want to be able to make a person look like the person. And that's another thing that always bothered me when I was a kid, is that I would draw something and people couldn't tell what it was. It's because I just didn't effectively show. Here we go. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're looking a little bit more Eddie, less Chris Rock. Okay. And yeah, and things like this take time. Time and observation and much better source images. And his bottom lip is a little bit bigger. Okay, I'm going to open up my chat. I'm going to make this a little smaller. There we go. I can still see it. And so sorry that you guys that I haven't been in the chat, but I am in the chat now. Okay. All right. Sorry, Tattooed Hearts. I'll try to be a little bit more animated. It's just that I'm really super focused. Okay, so some of the questions, and hi Tattooed Hearts and hi Dexter. I'm so deep and husky. Make the lips very juicy and big. Yup. That's part of the thing that makes people really super sexy. Is that they got these kissable lips. Yeah, sorry about that. Don't throw shoes. Oh my God, she be making you bleed. Yeah, girl, she made my mama made me bleed. Now Dexter asks, have I ever thought about purchasing the Tanshin 4K waterproof portfolio carry backpack? No. But you've given me a lot to think about. Oh yeah, ain't nobody gonna pick it up off the ground. Oh yeah, you'd be surprised at what people used to do back in the day. It could carry a lot of art supplies when you're traveling or drying out. That's a thought. I'll look for it. I can't wait for you to hit 700 subscribers, then thousands. Me too, girl, because I wanna monetize this junk. Nah, just teasing. But yeah, it's just that it's a good feeling that I've reached a whole bunch of people. Ah, thanks. Dexter complimented me on my technique. Okay, I wonder what a 4K, even an 8K photo would look. Oh, it would probably be amazing. But the question is, could I capture the images properly? Yeah, this guy, this picture is really super, what's the word? Cut off and stuff. And I think I'm a little cut off. Let me make sure that I'm in. Okay, one camera shows me with everybody showing, and the other one looks like it's a little cut off. I apologize for that. Okay, all right, on to the fifth face, because I have no time to dally. I've got another 5 faces to do on a whole nother page. I figured that if I could at least fill up this book with 4 faces, because it only has... And I think I'll put their names on there too, just in case. Okay, and that'll also remind me, who the hell am I drawing? Let's see. There we go. We got Eartha Kitt. Let me go into my Pinterest. Eddie Murphy. Oh, I got to do Martin. I found a really good picture of Martin. He is so silly. Let's see. At first I was going to do like hot black guys, but I was like, you know what? Let me draw whoever I can frickin', you know, people I recognize. Let me see. In my Pinterest, going back to my board, 100 head board. Oh, I got so many ideas. Okay. There she is. Loretta. That's what her name was. She's been in a lot of movies and a lot of, Waiting to Exhale, I think. She was so cute. She was, hitting on Gregory Hines. This is Diana Ross. I was going to find another person who sings and put her here. Let's see. Okay. All right. Let's see. I don't have a face for that. Um, okay. Did I not put her name on here? Crap. Let's see. Okay, there's Eartha. I was looking for Lupita. There. Nope, nope, nope. Okay, this was going to be Queen. I forget her name. This one was Eva. She used to be Pigford. Marcial. I'll look at. I got these two out of. Oh, actually, I got all three of these guys out of a magazine. And she's in a magazine too. Grace something or other. I gotta find her last name. Here's the Lupita I was looking for. And this was Sherry. Oops, it's H-A-R-I Belafonte. Alright. And then I'm going to come back in with a pen and then fill everybody in. Okay, gotta do Martin. Oh my god, I gotta do Martin. Where did he go? Oh my gosh. He's such a nut. Oh, what was the other chick's name? Let me go back to the board. It's gonna drive me nuts if I don't put her name in here. Crap, I don't see her. That's okay. Her name will come to me in a second. Okay, today I want to just focus on dudes. I have no idea what Martin's head looks like, his hair at least, because the face that I found. Let me see, copy. His hair is cut off. It's just like it's zoomed in really well. Let's see. Oop, where'd he go? There he is. Okay, I gotta zoom out. Yeah, I'm. Let's see, zoom out. There he is. Big old eyes. Okay. So let me go ahead and see if I can whip this out pretty fast. Okay, so some of this I will probably exaggerate. And then I'll rein it back in. One of my favorite artists, and he's a caricature artist, Mort Drucker, did work on, let's see, what should I draw? She says, girl, let's see, Tattoo says I should draw Ariana Grande as one of the faces. Not today. I will draw her another time, but the rest of this week is all about the black folk. Black influential people. Hence Black History. But she will be. I will draw her. I want to draw her as a cat girl, and I want to draw her with like little cat ears. I think I saw her wearing cat ears one time in one picture. I want to do a really big one. And if she's your favorite, I'll send her to you if you want it. If you like it. If you don't like it, then we'll draw something else. But I've got an idea of what I want to do for Ariana. She's so cute. If I get through these guys today, I could probably start it. But on this one, definitely not on this one. Or if you could think of her as a superhero, what superhero would you think she would be? And I would draw her as that. I would take her likeness and give her like a outfit or something like that. And we could even make up a whole another persona. So like if we were doing our own casting, that's one of the things that I want to do. That's like a future challenge. that I want to create is casting my own little superheroes using like real people. Okay, his nose is this wide. Dexter, I wanted to tell you that that one fun fact that you had given me, or like you had quizzed me on, like who created the mechanical pencil or when it was created or something like that. I went back and was reading up on that stuff. I'm like, hey, did not know this. Pretty cool. That was cool. Now, for folks that I can't see all their detail, and it's probably gonna throw some of my other pictures off, I'll probably just like kind of have them diffused into each other. And the way I would do that is I would find a way to make them either come out of darkness or come out of light or come out of somebody else. So like maybe the shirt of this and maybe something from Eddie will, you know, will create Martin here. Now this is a pose that I do not see often, where you got your mouth open, it's at an angle, and I'm trying to find distinctive faces. Like I want to draw Tina Turner, but I don't want to draw her just smiling. I want to see her gritty. You know, I want to try to draw pictures like that. And I didn't see pictures like that in the initial, what was it called? Challenge thing. There was mostly people facing forward, which I guess is good for folks who are just starting out and they just want to, let me just get two eyes, the lips, and a frickin' head on the paper or something. Let me just get that onto the paper. This might not even look like Martin. It's such a crazy angle. Let me get the rest of his nose here, and then I can erase that other crazy line. JJ! Yes! Black Jesus. Now that would be fun. That would be fun. Just some fun guys because they got these distinctive faces. JJ had this really long head, and he thought he was the bomb. That girls just loved him, something awful. And, you know, he's just a big string bean, but he was funny. He was Kid Dynamite, you know, back in the day. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. But I'd like to take shows like that and maybe do like caricatures of the characters, like Barney Miller. What's the other one? Welcome Back, Kotter. You know, those shows were so damn funny. What's his name? Sherman Hemsley from, was it Good Times? No, not Good Times. It wasn't Good Times. The Jeffersons. And we're moving on up, moving on up. God, I miss those shows. Yeah, I apologize for that. I'll see if I can do better. But I was just like in the zone, yo. And it's funny, I don't usually talk when I draw, and this is definitely different. Oh crap, it's 6:28. Damn it. Okay. Looks funny with just half a mustache. Let's see. So I failed myself because I was hoping to do five faces. follow the contour around. Exaggerate if you need to. And just like do like sitcom people. Oh, and just draw them maybe in a different style. Like Good Times I could draw like as Hey Arnold style, or what is it called? Something distinctive. Charlie Brown style. That would be cute. Welcome Back, Kotter guys. The Sweat Hogs. I think that's what they call them. Yeah, but Ariana Grande, that one's going to be a cute one. Okay, I got one more minute. Alrighty. I'm not going to give the spiel. If you guys want to, if you are watching and you catch me and you want to learn a little bit more, want to do this challenge, I'll go ahead and a little bit later when I get to a nice quiet spot, I'll go ahead and add those links to the 100 face challenge. And like and subscribe if you like. Do your thing. You know where the buttons are. If you don't, well, you'll learn. And then we'll play with a little bit more light and shadow. There's so many things I want to draw now. It's funny how this challenge wants to. I want to take myself out of it and just draw some of these things that I've seen. I can't wait to draw Tina Turner. I mean, and there's Nichelle Nichols from Star Trek. I loved Uhura. Love Uhura. They did not use her enough in the TV show. Gosh, a lot of the characters. It wasn't until the movies that you really got to see a little bit more of them, and even then it was just like a smidge. This is in darkness. So we'll throw a little bit of dark here. Alright, so I'll leave you guys here. And I will see you guys on the morrow. Ariana wearing cat headphones. Oh, now that would be cool. Alright, girl. We'll keep playing with the idea, but I'm definitely going to draw her. I'm definitely freaking going to draw her. Alright, you guys. I'll see you on the morrow. We'll have like another 10 or 15 more faces. And and I'll let's see. Wait. Have a great day and think about the backpack. It only costs. Really? It's that cheap? Holy crap! Dexter, send me a link. Holy crap! I probably use that instead of what I'm using. All right, you guys. I'll take care. It's 6:32. I got 3 minutes to get the hell out of the house.